Hello guys, what is up? It's me, Ewan from What Culture, and today I thought we'd try something a little different. As comics editor for What Culture, you'd imagine that I get through my fair share of comics, and I do. Trades mostly, but I do read books as they release too. And what better way to talk about that than to dissect the solicitations, those little spoilerific listings that let us all know what to expect in a given month. 2019 is shaping up to be a magnificent year for Marvel and DC, and the latest batch of solicitations don't do anything to dissuade that impression. Creativity is here, there, and well, everywhere, and though DC look prepped and ready for an exciting summer, so too do Marvel. June features the conclusion to the increasingly epic-looking War of the Realms, and also the introduction of 2 brand new ongoing series. Add to that some juicy teasers for said ongoings, mini-series, and even the occasional one-shot, and June doesn't look just like a fully stacked month for the House of Ideas, but a varied one at that. Granted, that perception will depend on how you feel about tie-ins and crossovers. It has a lot of them, but that doesn't take away from just how big a month it is. So, let's unpack it all, shall we? I'm Ewan, you're watching What Culture Comics, and here's what we learned from Marvel's June solicitations. Number 10, Jason Aaron's THOR is finally coming to a close. When it comes to a close come June, Jason Aaron's run on THOR will go down as one of the all-time greats Marvel have ever published. Spanning 7 years, several artists, and dozens of issues, Aaron's THOR has pushed boundaries, reappraised legacies, and redefined what the God of Thunder is all about. It is little surprise, then, that the release of the series' ultimate issue is somewhat bittersweet. It's been a staple of the House of Ideas for so long, and then, just like that, it's gone. It's sure to make for an incredible finale though, with the aforementioned 7 years all building to this one moment. It'll herald the conclusion of the War of the Realms, it too concluding in June with an oversized 6th issue, and is sure to leave a lasting impact on the landscape of the Marvel Universe for some time to come. The final cover, illustrated by Mike Del Mundo, is something to behold as well. It features the God of Thunder coming face to face with Venom, and though it's unclear how he crosses paths with the symbiote, it's sure to make for an incredible climax. Number 9, is someone dying in War of the Realms? Unsurprisingly, June is effectively Marvel's War of the Realms month. Every ongoing is tying into it in some way or another, not to mention all the tie-ins created specifically for the event, and it only intimates the scale of the conflict. But, as with most conflicts, fans should probably expect casualties. The description for War of the Realms number 6 even hints as much, with Earth's mightiest heroes battling together to make a final stand in New York City. The synopsis reads as follows. Out of options, the God of Thunder makes a sacrifice that will leave him forever changed. But will it be enough? And what heroes may fall in his wake? Midgard's fate is sealed as Jason Aaron's years-long saga comes to its epic conclusion. Granted, the 6th issue doesn't flat out state that a hero will die, but don't rule it out. It wouldn't be a Marvel event without the passing of at least one superhero, so it may be wise for fans to brace themselves now and avoid the heartbreak come June. Number 8, Black Cat gets a brand new ongoing. Although 2019 is very much the year of Thor and the Avengers, Spider-Man is leading the way too. Hot on the heels of a revolutionary 2018, which featured several memorable exploits across various mediums, the Spidey family of comics pervade the House of Ideas solids week in, week out. They're also adding a brand new one for June in Black Cat, written by Jed MacKay and featuring art from Travel Foreman. The series will spin directly out of the events of Amazing Spider-Man, with Felicia Hardy on the run from both the PDNY and the New York Thieves Guild, led by Odessa Drake. The book will retail for $4.99 and features some bonus material too, including a story that unveils, quote, a secret from Cat's past, as well as an all-new Marvel Meow short story by Neho Fuji. Puns, they got them. Number 7, and so does Silver Surfer. Writer Donny Cates has been helming some of Marvel's best works over the last couple of years, with Venom in particular being a surprise hit of 2018. Cates has recently turned his attention to the cosmic corners of the Marvel Universe with Guardians of the Galaxy, go check it out, and spinning out of that comic comes a whole new Silver Surfer book, dubbed Silver Surfer Black. Oh, some mild spoilers ahead for Guardians of the Galaxy #1, by the way. If you haven't read it and don't want to be spoiled, then go ahead and scoot on over to the entry 6 to avoid disappointment. The first issue of Cates' Guardians opened with some of Marvel's most important cosmic characters getting sucked up into a black hole thanks to a plot masterminded by Thanos' Black Order, and the Surfer ends up being one of their victims. It is from that premise that Cates will tell the latest chapter in the Surfer's long-running history, joined by artist Tradd Moore. It's worth noting that Black will be a 5-issue miniseries, but could this preempt more adventures with Norrin Radd? Here's hoping. Number 6. A legendary team return for one last Hulk book. If you ask Hulk fans to list off their favourite comics to have featured the not-so-jolly Jade Giant, then Peter David's name is bound to come up. The writer masterminded a revered and character-defining stint on Bruce Banner's main comic book back in the late 80s, and it remains definitive. It's worth noting that Al Ewing's and Joe Bennett's Immortal Hulk series is one of the best Marvel ongoings of the last few years. But if anyone was going to steal their thunder, it would be David, who's now been teamed up with Dale Keown, one of the artists who have worked with the writer on that earlier run, for a special one-shot called Incredible Hulk Last Call. David and Keown's return is a special occasion, one which Marvel have marked with an oversized one-shot that'll retail for $4.99. Needless to say, if you're a fan of those earlier books, this is one you're not going to want to miss. Number 5. True Believers ties into Spider-Man Far From Home. For a while now, Marvel have been using their True Believers series to tie into the release of new entries in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Avengers Endgame's April premiere begets a smattering of reprints of classic Avengers comics, which have even led some to speculate that they could feature some clues for the film's story, as well as a potential cameo from Black Knight. Come June, however, it's Spider-Man's turn to take that spotlight. Spider-Man Far From Home swings into cinemas July 5th, so it only makes sense that Marvel look to capitalize on its release by reprinting stories relevant to the film's premise. As most will know, Far From Home features Peter Parker on a trip to Europe, where he'll fend off with the likes of Sandman, Hydro Man, and Molten Man, but most importantly, Mysterio. He'll also be suiting up in at least 2 new outfits, and with those themes in mind, the latest True Believers reprints may hold some clues as to the plot of the film. There are some obvious inclusions, such as Amazing Spider-Man number 13, the first appearance of Mysterio, one where he visits London, as well as stories spotlighting Spidey's various costume changes. But then there are some unusual ones too. There are some Doc Ock reprints, and then one that involves a throwdown between Spider-Man and the Hulk. It's already been speculated that Mysterio could be imitating Doctor Strange's magic in Far From Home, so could it be possible he actually conjures an Avenger too? One can only hope. Number 4. Spider-Man's life story heads to the 90s. The first issue of Spider-Man Life Story dropped this Wednesday, and it's quickly shaping up to be one of Marvel's most exciting books this year. Written by Chip Zdarsky and with art from Ultimate Spidey alum Mark Bagley, Life Story takes a linear approach to Spidey's life, beginning with the 1960s. Issue by issue, the duo will show how Spidey changed from decade to decade, and June specifically looks as though it'll dwell on the 90s. Telling a Spider-Man biography through the lens of each decade's milieu is a complete masterstroke of a premise, and issue 4 does nothing to change that perception. Number 3. Chris Claremont returns to Wolverine. If Peter David is a name that manages to send the hearts of Hulk fans fluttering, then the same must be said for Chris Claremont and the X-Men. The writer presided over the Uncanny team's most successful period during the 80s and 90s, and though he's only made the occasional foray into comics in recent years, they're always worth it. So, the news that Claremont is returning to helm a Wolverine one-shot called Exit Wounds, alongside industry legends Larry Hama and Sam Keith, is bound to excite X-Men fans. Claremont will also be joined by Salvador Larroca, while 90s darling Rob Liefeld will handle the book's variant cover. Again, as with Hulk, this Wolverine one-shot is likely to be a must-read for those who grew up on Claremont's work. He's hoping that other characters get the treatment too, like Ann Nocenti and John Romita Jr.'s Daredevil, maybe Marvel? Pretty please. Number 2. Immortal Hulk gets a hardcover. On to the collections now, and there are a lot releasing in June. Marvel are putting out a brand new collection of John Byrne and Jai Lee's Namor books, a revamped trade paperback centered around Brian Bendis and Sarah Pichelli's Miles Morales comics, and even a slipcase featuring all of Frank Miller's Daredevil books that looks particularly stunning. Fans of classic Marvel can take an interest in new editions of Roger Stern's Doctor Strange and Roy Thomas's Ghost Rider, but the comic that takes prize place in this month's Solids is the hardcover collection of Al Ewing's Immortal Hulk. Featuring a beautiful cover from Alex Ross, the first volume of Immortal Hulk collects the series' first 10 issues, as well as some snippets from Avengers number 684. It's a must-read. And if you were unlucky enough not to pick up the series as it released, then there's no better place to acquaint yourself with it than with this new hardcover. And number 1, guess who's back? Back again. Yeah, this technically didn't emerge from Marvel Solicitations, but come on, how do you not talk about the return of Jonathan Hickman? The writer was responsible for some of the best Marvel comics of the last decade, helming beloved stints on Fantastic Four and the New Avengers before helming the Gargantuan Infinity series in 2013. Given so much of Hickman's work is informing Marvel across various different mediums, it seems apt that he's set to return later in the year. Adverts running in last Wednesday's Marvel books seem to tease that something big related to the X-Men would be coming in the next few months, so it may be possible that Hickman has set his sights on Marvel's most uncanny mutants. Last week's reference to evolution demanding adaptation or dominance led to that initial speculation, but it still remains to be seen as to what it is exactly that the former New Avengers scribe is up to. Whatever it is, it's coming in July, so expect to learn more in the next batch of Solicitations releasing in the next few weeks. And that was what we learned from Marvel's June Solids. Please do like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you haven't already, and you know what? Go share what books you're picking up this week down in the comments below. As always, I've been Ewan. You can come talk to me about comics over on Twitter at EwanRunesThings, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!